Caraca. Perdi 70 aí. Ainda bem que não perdi muito.
Until my research is complete. I'd better learn to hide my true nature from the mortals. What about my thirst for blood?
Ué, que isso? Ah, já acabou a liga. Sítio deserto com aquele. Eita, ferrado, precisa me recuperá-lo. O que tem que fazer aqui mesmo? Tá bom, é daí. Tá bem, tá bem.
Come up.
Fala, doutor.
Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
Sorry, there's nothing here.
Some of the patients won't last the night without them. Honestly, sir, I'm beside myself.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse.
Obrigada. Ready?
Yes, doctor?
Why then do you always work the nights? Don't you ever sleep?
At the Pembroke, we're always hands on deck.
Lack of sleep and the medical profession always ends in disaster. I've witnessed many a colleague succumb to stimulants to fight exhaustion. Drugs were as deadly as bullets in the trenches.
London's trenches start here at Pembroke Hospital. We are on the front line, make no mistake.
Your dedication to the Pembroke does you credit, Nurse Crane, but when do you sleep?
We staff get our sleep when we can, Doctor. Nursing is a vocation, not the labor of a journeyman.
Please, could you point me in the direction of the morgue again?
It's the large boarded-up building behind the hospital. You can't miss it. The key I gave you will open the small back door to it.
Exactly how bad is the supply situation here at Pembroke?
It really depends. Dr. Swansea deftly works his society contacts for monies, but with the quarantine, well, we're in God's hands.
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
Entra no diretor, meia-noite. Entra no jardim dele. Entra no jardim do quintal. Opa.
It's locked.
It's locked. Tá, tem uma coisa aqui, né? Tá aí, pra onde que é o jardim? Ô moça, você tem branco? Ah tá, esqueci que isso aqui foca. Pera aí.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Perguntas pessoais. Não tem nenhum bloqueio.
Goodbye,
Não
Nurse
tem nada pra falar. Vamos falar com a Dona Vampira.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Perguntas pessoais. Conte-me sobre planos hoje.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Vamos falar com o cara aqui.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Vamos ter uma coisa desbloqueada.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Damn. The pain.
Fala aí, doido.
Here again.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, sir, I must apologize for my behavior.
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory. Fear and exhaustion made me say awful things to you, I'm afraid.
You remained perfectly nice and polite. A little delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief. Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Perguntas pessoais. Como se sente?
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest. And then I could go back to the people who need me.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton? I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
Have you made friends since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
Just there.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior. I went to his place and he refused to let me go.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
You dared to enter this awful place alone. You're a hero, Mr. Hampton. Or a fool.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show, with the assistance of her minion, Dooth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton. We'll talk again later. Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
I wish I could be sick again. My blood boil with the fever.
Yes, Doctor?
That's all for now, Nurse Crane, thank you.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later. Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean? You used to be a doctor. Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Como é que ela sabe da irmã dele? Como é que ela sabe da irmã dele, cara?
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
Nova fiesta.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No. I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I'm not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful. Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana. It's locked, all right.
It's locked, all right. Pipa-roca. Pra poder dar aí, mulher.
Train terminal.
Tá, tem um nego morto aqui. Ah, meu amor, pelo menos eu consegui o dinheiro que faltava para pegar a taxa cobrada do motorista da. Proteína, tá bom. Milton, lava-pix. Sério, tô voltando aqui pra cá. Tá, mas foi você que me pediu?
Yes, Doctor?
That's all for now, Nurse Crane. Thank you.
Deixa eu ver se tem outro que me pediu. Volta. Volta.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Quem é que me pediu?
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Fica o jardim. Droga. Eu vou voltar.
Começa também. Tá broken.
It's locked.
It's locked. No. Aqui.
Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody.
Interessante. Entendi o bloco. Vamos continuar. Uau! Milton e Pipa. Ai.
So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well.
Tá, gente. Safadões. Nossa, tem uma coisa pena ali. Estranho. Achei que não abria. O velho necrotério. Só um minuto. Link instalado. Vambora. Capturar a bala. Beleza. Devia ter uma lanterna, quer ver? Não. Eu achei que ia só abrir a porta, viu? Das torres. Vai fazer o quê? Ah, de algum jeito eu vou ter que arrumar essa porcaria. Tem bastante coisa para eles pegar, mano. Eita. Tem rastros. Tem barulho na minha cara.
It's locked, all right.
Eita, nisso. Tá com cara de Silent Hill, hein?
Balls of Mars. Fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful.
Vocês podem escutar, pô. Pode que não dá pra você agachar. É aí, seu louco, beleza? Isso, não posso?
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. It's locked.
It's locked.
This key will surely grant me access to the basement.
Chave lá de baixo. Eita, se você pegou esse daí, tem nego aqui. Do nada você pegou o machado, louco? Eita, que foi isso?
It's locked, all right.
Vamos dar uma olhada pra ver se não deixou nada pra trás. Caraca. Quanto Shang. Tem mais escada pra cima. Tá, né? Opa. Pera que eu acho que eu já fui. Tô te escutando, cadê você? Uou! Quantos negros tem aqui?
These skulls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood.
Escutando o choro de neném. Cadê você, seu louco? Ah, você tá aqui do lado. Fica paradinha aí. Fica paradinha aí. Ai, caralho. Ah, tem mais um. Sai daqui. Vamos. Errou. Eu também errei. Que isso? Mata o cara, pô. Como é que eu não vi dois? Opa, tá vindo mais um ali. Ai, cadê? Tá vivo ainda. Ok.
Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the lips. Some sort of drug overdose, perhaps? The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean. The chest has been reopened.
Hello.
A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Not the cleanest work, but I think it was successful. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked. It's locked.
It's locked. A absorção de sangue. Você descobriu essa arma na aposta. Equipe sobre sangue diretamente. Tinha uma pessoa ali. O quê? Ai, caralho, que isso? Que? Ah, não, você também. Que isso, doido? Olha! Tem mais de um! Essa é tua sombra? Ai. Um segundo. Que isso? Já matou? Fogo é a nossa arma mais poderosa, irmãos. O melhor jeito de matar devido ao monstro é queimando. Ah, é. Me lançou lança-chamas então. Ai, ai, manda ver. Que? Ué, sacanagem, coisa de volta. Pega minha mãe.
It's locked. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked.
Caramba, para quieto. Que isso? Rapaz.
I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage.
O que dá pra fazer aqui? Tá. Certeza que vai ter mais nego. Tem mais nego ali. Tem dois aí. Pera aí.
Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza.
Caraca. Opa, tem nego aqui. Ah, lá embaixo. Ai, tem um aqui. Eita, cara! Descanse para evoluir. Vamos sair então, né? Beleza. Preciso descansar. Fabrica, tratamento para fadiga, devolva a carteira da beleza. Ótimo, mais nego aqui. Uma nível 7. Assombro. Que é essa, cara? Leva na gabiraca. Ah, nossa, que demais.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
No. No, você.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Cadê a outra enfermeira?
The life running in your veins. This dead flesh needs it.
Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen. Spare your obedient slave.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
I wish I could be sick again.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Cadê aquela enfermeira? Não, não sei. Essa foto aqui em cima. Vamos descansar. Obrigado. Vamos ver o que a gente pode fazer aqui. Oh, bom saber. Por que tu dá base de 300, hein? abrigo é tratamento de fatiga. Tá, qual que é isso? Quero descansar, quero dormir.
You're gonna be fine. We're here for you.
Aha, você me quer.
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Os movidos em novos. Perguntas pessoais sobre seu.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor. How did he die? What happened?
He was my patient. He died because of my mistake. That's the blunt truth.
Oh, cara,
Why not stop practicing?
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it, and it won't happen again. I have saved so many lives since then.
What was the nature of the mistake?
It was a twofold error. My diagnosis was wrong, and the administered dosage was too strong.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks, maybe a fisherman. I had no time to talk with him. No one claimed a body.
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
Cara, não para de atacar minha vida. Oh, meu, eu sinto aqui estranho. O que mais acha você?
Finally, you've returned, Doctor. Did you find anything of value?
Yes,
Hi.
nurse.
You've worked your first miracle, Doctor. Now, this patient here needs immediate treatment.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to mix the remedy yourself with the same basic ingredients.
Many thanks, Doctor. When you've finished, you ought to report to Dr. Swansea in his office. He's been looking for you. Seemed pressing.
Fala aí, tio. Tem...
Good evening. I'm Dr.
Hello,
Reed. Can I
Harry
help
Potter.
at all?
No,
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'll let you get some rest, then. Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Goswick.
I don't want to talk, Doctor.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help. Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's bothering you?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Vou atrás dela agora mesmo. Ela fez. Quem é você, louco? Será que eu tô...
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Tá nada, você tá sentado aí.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Fala com o Edgar Spanzia. Quero um pouco de água. Atrás daquele maluco, ó. Pipa.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Teve uma conversa, tá conversando. Ei, que droga.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Cadê ele, aquele maluco? Até aqui o lugar. Aí tá você.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet, with all the money, and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Quero munição. Olha, tá bastante. finalizar então falando com ele.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
It may seem strange, but your words have brought me some comfort here.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
There is no need to apologize, Edgar. You offered me sanctuary when I had none.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Do you need something, Jonathan?
I have just a few questions.
Then ask away. I'm at your service, Doctor.
We'll see each other again soon, Edgar.